Hi, this is Catherine at Printables Academy, and this week in our niche idea, instead of doing a short, I am doing actually a longer review of a product that I bought just yesterday. And I've had a chance to take a look through all the parts of it, and so I've got some thoughts and opinions, and if this is right for you, maybe this will help you make a decision as to whether this is a good thing for you. I will say that I was a little bit skeptical. I had some advance notice that this was coming, so I had some time to think about it and how I might use it. So I think the first thing is, if you are not at all interested in travel, then I would just kind of stop this video right now because this relates to travel. It doesn't need to specifically be travel. If you are maybe a family blogger or something like that, this could be helpful as well, particularly one of the bonuses that I'm going to show you. So you can use this in multiple ways, even if you're not specifically travel. This main front end offer has to do with building adventure itineraries in a location aimed at families. So, if you are in that kind of lifestyle family doing stuff with kids, this could be something for you as well. So, but the prompts are kind of meant to build a book out of this. And so what I like about this is that it's not just a collection of random prompts. And I've been burned with prompts before, which is why I'm always a little skeptical about this, buying prompts, because I bought one recently that I think was coloring book prompts, and it was the exact same prompt 200 times. They had just changed out the subject for every single line. So coloring image of a dog, coloring image of a cat, coloring image of a bear. So that's not super useful. But the difference with this is that it's really well thought out. It's actually a series of 15 prompts that when you run them consecutively will help you build an entire book. And the last prompt is even to build your book listing information, your description, your keywords and such. So it's kind of a start to finish process and you follow the prompts in order. So one thing that kind of brings to mind then is that possibly not all generative AI that you might have access to would be the right choice for this. You really want something that is chat-based, where you can give it a series of prompts. It's going to remember what it did before in the thread and build on that. Some of the prompts even are kind of more of a cross-checking or double-checking or kind of refining kinds of prompts, just to kind of keep the chat on task and to kind of reduce some of the errors and the repetition that it might do. So it is a nice sequence of prompts. So I was impressed with that. This is the main guide that you get with the front end. So I'm not going to scroll through all of it, but this is the table of contents. It kind of gives you some information on the adventure concept of families. And then part 2 is talking about picking what your topic is going to be and how you might even use AI to give you some ideas for that. Then it gives you some links to the template. So there is a Google Doc template, which really isn't a whole lot other than it's formatted to be 6x9. Other than that, it's pretty much just a blank Google Doc. But if you are not using Canva, which is the template that it provides, then you can use the Google Doc to copy and paste your different chapters as you generate them. And so I do have the template open here. So this is the template that you get in Canva. So it is your entire book. You can see up to 132 pages here. And it is very nicely formatted. It's got all your parts. It's got a table of contents. It's got like a slightly bigger margin on the left and right. So it's designed to be like a 2-page spread. It's got some spots for you to add illustrations or photos in there. And I think overall, this is a very nicely designed template. So was happy with that. And then it gives you some tips on publishing, and it basically walks you through the process of uploading your book, all the steps that you need to take to upload it to Kindle, gives you a little bit of ideas on marketing, as well as next steps from there. So if you've never published on Kindle before, I would say this is like a high-level overview of the step-by-step. I think it's better for someone who's already familiar with Kindle and publishing there to just have a reminder of this is the step that you have to do, rather than kind of being any sort of tutorial. It's more like a checklist to make sure you don't miss anything. It's all in bullet points. So, but there's a lot of good solid tips in here, and I was not disappointed. So I didn't feel like I wasted my money with this. So, but let's move on to the next thing, because there are some bonuses that come with this. And one of them in particular I really like, and that is this Memory Maker AI toolkit. And again, it would not be fair to the creator to like scroll through and have people be able to pause the video and kind of get some of the information. So I'm only going to look at the table of contents. But basically, this has a lot of prompts for generating extra ideas, things that could be printables, could be blog posts, could be videos, could be trivia videos, making like printables that are scavenger hunts, all sorts of things that you could have as an upsell to your main guides. And so I actually thought that this was really more valuable than the main front end. So the main front end, I do have some concerns that even though the world is a really big place, and even if 500 people buy this and actually implement it, we're never going to have 500 guides of Seattle or New York. Maybe New York, but the world is such a big place that, I think the travel niche, it's not that dangerous to buy something like PLR or like this sort of prompt kit in the travel niche, because there's so many different ways you can go with it. But I think that if you want to build a whole ecosystem of printables and promotional materials, things that you could use as lead magnets, things that you could use as blog posts or on a YouTube channel, I really thought that this Memory Maker toolkit was equally, if not more valuable for me than the main front end. So let's just quickly go through the other bonuses. So there's another one to put it into other languages. Personally, I'm not keen on the idea of having ChatGPT or anything like that translate for me. It probably does an okay job, but I would not want to publish anything and put my name on it without having a native speaker proofread the results. So, you might be able to hire someone on Upwork or Fiverr to proofread the results to make sure it's okay. But I think multilingual, it's a good idea, but I don't know that I would just rely on AI to translate for me. The other one, this is kind of interesting. It's not something I'm personally wanting to pursue, but the idea is that maybe you could sell some sponsored ad spots in your guidebooks to local businesses in the region that you are covering in your guide. So this gives you some ideas on finding businesses, on creating and crafting pitch emails to them, as well as keeping track of any of your sponsored spots. So that's, for some people, this might be kind of cool. It's definitely an interesting idea for a guidebook to have some sponsored things in it. So those were the bonuses that were included with the front end. So this is on a dime sale for its launch, which this is the beginning of October. I believe it's on launch till October 11th. So it's about $25 and some change as I'm recording this. And I think I feel comfortable that this was worth it. Again, mostly for the Memory Maker bonus for me, and then also the front end I thought was quite well done. So I do want to spend just a quick moment talking about how I would try and differentiate this. So the way that this prompt set and also the template is formatted, it's geared towards family adventures. So things to do with your family in a certain location. That's how this main prompt set is built out. So one of the things that I would do to differentiate it is you could choose a different market, and you could just change parts of the prompt to adjust it from families to a different target market. So for example, there are lots of guidebooks out there that are generic. So we don't really want to be another Frummers or a Fodders or, Lonely Planets. Like, they've pretty much got the market covered. So what we need to do is we need to appeal to a specific person. So you want to have something like Seattle for, and then a target market. So one suggestion would be, when I was doing, my backpack through Europe kind of thing, there was a guidebook called Let's Go, and I have not seen that in ages. So I'm going to guess that Let's Go is not something that is published anymore. If you remember it, say so in the comments. I'd love to know who else remembers that. But it was really geared toward the young student traveler on a budget. And it was all about, this is pre-internet, all about finding youth hostels and budget hotels and maybe tours that cater towards, younger people, college age, single. And so it was really geared towards that market of, the college student who takes their summer or maybe even their gap year to backpack through Europe. There were other countries as well, but it was, what I remember, it was geared mostly towards Europe. So that might be one way to go, is to target young, budget-conscious people. So things that you might want to change some of the chapters from being more family-oriented to maybe having a chapter on nightlife in a particular city. Or, think about what a young person, what would they value? What kinds of things would they be interested in? And change up some of the chapters to reflect that. So that is one idea that you can do. Now, there is an upsell. There's actually several upsells. I only purchased the first one, which is the add-ons. So this basically gives you 8 additional ones, and I can just scroll through this because there's nothing to give away in this particular PDF because it's all a bunch of links in here. And so this is on the page for the upsell. And so this does themed guides. So instead of families, it's changing the theme to food and wine, fitness, etc., nature lover trails. So really, one of my concerns before getting this upsell was that it was just going to really be the same main prompt rewritten because, again, I've been burned before. So it sort of is, I won't lie, but it is kind of massaged towards these different themes. So, if you're thinking about other themes, like I actually have a couple other themes that I had been planning on doing. And that's, again, one of the reasons I bought this was to help me accomplish that. So if you have some other theme ideas, you can kind of take a look through here and see how the prompt has been adjusted for these different themes. So these are still location plus solo travel, location plus, with pets. So if you have other theme ideas, you can, again, set yourself apart by, changing the prompt up for those different themes. So this upsell, I would say, is maybe not as worth it as the front end. But again, if any of these, like there is a couple on here, and I won't say which ones, that I have been wanting to do, and a couple that kind of come close to something that I have in mind. So for me, I don't feel bad about purchasing this upsell, even though it's not as differentiated as I would have hoped, because, it does still shortcut things for me a little bit. So that is the first upsell. I can't comment on any of the other many upsells that are in this funnel. Because I didn't purchase them, but some of them have to do with marketing and creating funnels and lead magnets for your books. I believe that this Memory Maker bonus that's included is everything you need to create lead magnets and promotional kinds of things that will that you'll be able to upsell to your guides. So the other thing I want to mention is that aside from writing guidebooks, you don't necessarily need to publish these as a guide. You can use these if you have a travel blog, you could use these as just standalone guides as an article on your website, and then this memory maker could create printables and stuff to go along with it, or social media things like a video quiz that you could use to promote your site. So I think there's lots of different ways that you can use this. Also, a lot of travel bloggers sell itineraries as a PDF. So you could consider breaking down some of these different adventures that the main prompt gives you, these different itinerary ideas that the main prompt gives you. You could create either a collection of them, or you could sell them as single itineraries. You could also add in some, workbook or planner-like aspects to it. So you could turn them into scavenger hunts or bingos and, make them for family guides. And you could also change up the format. So you could make them like a digital planner type of style, and then also a smartphone planner style. So all different ways that you could format a PDF to make it easy for a person to just download and use right on their mobile device instead of having a physical book in their hand. Okay, so I hope that was helpful if you have heard of this launch and you're considering it. Hopefully that gives you some more information, some more things to think about, and some strategies and ideas for using it. If you do have any questions about it, you can pop those into the comments and I will try and answer them for you. Thanks for watching.